Demon
Just
over
be
there.
forewarned, we're probably in for a couple bad Ganon farts. His stomach's been making really weird noises.
Well,
Although
it's
I
a
haven't
good thing
smelled
my sense
anything
of
yet.
smell doesn't exist.
Give it 10 minutes.
All right. Welcome, SASAns, to this week's episode of SASAns and Dragons, our homebrew house rule infested game of 5th edition, Dungeons and Dragons. I am Magnus Beasticus, your dungeon master for the evening. Now let's go ahead and introduce you to our epic players.
I'm Thunky Beerbot, and don't let my facial hair fool you. I am a female mountain dwarf druid. I come from a long line of beer brewers, hence the name Beerbot. I had a mostly normal upbringing in the mountains of northern Melibrius, and I've always had an affinity towards animals, not so much the ruling races. I have many fond childhood memories of wandering the local forests in search of new furry friends. Eventually, on the advice of my parents, I enrolled in druidic studies and began honing my spellcasting abilities. My instructor, Elder Dalbrook, was a highly logical man and taught me my most important life lesson, that even though nature is beautiful, it cannot exist without chaos. There isn't a day that goes by that I do not repeat that message to myself. I understand that not all beasts can be tamed, and sometimes I will have to battle one. I don't like to admit it, but this happens more often with my new family, Oren's Obliterate. But I will stop at nothing to ensure their safety, and I may cause some chaos in the process.
If you were to gaze upon the mysterious property of Orenbelle's finest artificer, you would find a very large mansion met by a garden with superbly sculpted shrubbery. At any given time, there is but only one worker which may be found on these grounds, and why that is me, Crow. I am one of Master Cumentus's many creations. The majority of my being is made up of organic, plant-like material. The rest is mechanical. There are many duties for which I was created for, some of which include cooking, cleaning, obtaining materials and ingredients, assisting with laboratory duties, removing trespassers from the property, acting as the master's personal bodyguard when in town, and closest friend, always. These may be some of my regular duties, though Master Cumentus mentioned that I am fully loaded with great purpose and grand potential. I have yet to discover the meaning behind those words. Maybe he was referencing the inaccessible areas of my internal systems. Or maybe he was just trying to make me feel better about my self-realized lack of greater purpose in this world. Or maybe it is a metaphor for the many journeys he planned for us. Either way, I seek to discover the true potential of my being.
Hello, I am Varkir Invictari. I am an Aasimar of the clan Invictari at Barathor's Reach. To explain more about myself, I must first explain the world we live in, full of angels and monsters that toy with mortal lives like cheap coins. I sought out to rid us of the need to constantly appease these beings of considerable power. Even if all the world is my enemy, they will thank me when the work is done, for I believe in the strength of my fellow mortal. We have turned the tides of battle with nothing but one act that has spiraled out to a glory that is yet to be rivaled in this day and age. Kalinor, my right hand, my sword and shield. Altero, my left, my bow. All the others were dear to me, just as my mother and father. The angel that speaks to me in my dreams warns me of the dangers of what I do. But I know my path is virtuous, though I cannot do the same for the company I now find myself with. They may represent the truest of dangers, or the brightest of futures. Time will tell.
My name is Herchek Bane. I am from the clan The Frenzied Bear, whose home is at the northeastern part of the Shattered Peaks. Growing up, I was split between two tribes, fighting over the land we both tried to call our own. My tribe's battle mentality was of pure carnage during warring, praising an unknown entity that I personally detested. My father, Urkhelm Bane, was fourth in line to be chieftain, known in the tribe to be a fierce warrior on the battlefield, and to have saved many lives in combat over the ages. He has but one mighty secret, which is where I come in. Born from a forbidden love with a mighty warrior woman from the clan the Roaring Tempest, my tribe's rivals. My mother, Rakir Stormwill, the Roaring Tempest. She was a brutal warrior on the battlefield and a kind priestess to those in need. Her deity, Regentia, as a weapon as well as her shield, is the goddess I now follow. After years of secrecy, I could no longer hold back my rage. During a battle with a fellow clansman, I unleashed my storm-bound fury. Luckily, through the deeds of my father and the tribe, I was not sentenced to death on the spot. I was, though, cast out from my clan, exiled, never to return or show my face around them. My title in the clan removed from me. One day I will return to my homeland and take over my clan to show them that there can be peace amongst all tribes. Unity is what I seek for the Goliath race, and I will achieve that goal, even if it takes my life.
When last we left our heroes of Oren's Obliterate, they had infiltrated the first of 3 Denebron army camps in the floating forest. They had been within reach of accomplishing their goal of disrupting the camp's helium mining operation when the newly familiar massive entity, known as the Hive Abomination, had arrived, ripping one of the 3 primary trees that comprised this camp asunder, shifting it and cracking it and slamming it into a second of the 3 trees, sending them both careening towards the ground. This giant bug-eyed Cthulhu tentacled monster with a foreign entity riding atop now enters into this camp. And this is where we pick up. Herchek, Rummy, Quenzel, and Spectromir are floating high in the sky above the trees, having having escaped fully from near death from these trees colliding into them, though they are floating away. We zoom in now to Crow, Carnigal, and Thunky inside of the camp. I'm going to pick up this. Oh, I should actually turn on the... One moment while I set up the tactical view. And then we'll just...
The tactical?
It might be cool to put it on or over that.
Do we have like a black cloth to put over
Just
that?
so nobody sees that.
Well, no, I mean, just because there are like legs on that thing. Fun.
What do you mean there are legs on?
There.
I mean, it's not in view of the camera, though.
That is...
You should drink some water.
Sorry, Ronnie.
No problem.
All right. Let's zoom in to the situation at hand. We have clearly the giant Cthulhu monster right here with a foreign rider atop of it. This is the giant Belbanus tree that it had snapped and slammed into the other one that is clearly depicted by those black markings. The captain of this camp had been flung into the center and knocked unconscious on top of the sort of collection of all of these helium sacks and or Belbanus sacks and helium nuts. Crow has a detained, unconscious, copper-clad soldier on his shoulder, with Carnigal in ferret form on his opposite shoulder. Thunky takes up position next to Crow. Crow had just freed all 9 of the sort of like varying different sizes and sexes of the filthy slaves who seem super elated to be free at this moment. But as soon as he had done this, the Hive Abomination and its tentacled I was about to say erotic. What is the
Hive.
for bug? The it's no, not for bug. For bugs. What's the like word for all bugs? Insectoid
Insects.
form. There we go. Its insectoid form. It's erotic form. Its insectoid form had emerged, snapped the tree, thrown it into the other one, and
It's much too much hentai.
what you all
Sorry.
are the situation you are in now is you only saw the large silhouette of the tree get slammed into the opposing one, and you see this emerging silhouette get closer and closer and closer as these sort of like waving and twitching tentacles emerge, and almost are like they seem to be on autopilot searching for something as they come in. You guys are still in a dense fog. You had destroyed all of the guiding lights, and the slaves, you start to see them like as they get excited and they're coming out towards you. One is still in the cage, just passed out, because this is the nodding fog. And so anybody who doesn't have a cloak, an Olishan cloak, or some form of protection around them, they will, unless they have a hyper constitution, more than likely they're probably going to go Betty by Sleepy Poo. And so you can barely even see the captain unconscious in the boxes as this creature steps over the broken stump and gets ever closer. What do you and Thunky do?
I would like to move my moonbeam to the giant creature.
Oh yes, the moonbeam is still up as this sort of like pulsating pillar of light is visible through the fog on the opposite side of the camp. What can we use?
Oh, okay.
What?
Very well. Use your moonbeam as a signal for the null Hollis's eye. Let's get out of here. Set it in the distance.
What is that thing? Where you go?
You want me to move it into the distance and then we can run to it?
Yes. Yes.
Alrighty. Then I
That
move
way,
it
I have
120 feet in
foot
like
long thing. That's all it does per time.
that direction.
Okay, you just see this like zip of light searing across the ground, leaving a bit of space behind it, with an absence of fog, almost like burning the fog on its way through as the fog slowly rolls in and collects. It's leaving maybe about like a 15-20 foot clearing behind it. And the moonbeam.
And we're running.
Ooh. Can you move it out? So let's see, hold on. 120 feet, it would go 120 feet away, so it'd be far out.
More towards the corner.
Far out, man. How high does the moonbeam go?
Let me see. 40 feet high. Wow, did not realize it was only 40 feet high. That can't reach above the trees. They're not gonna see that. These trees are like hundreds of feet high.
You don't know that.
Raise it. You can raise it up to 120 feet.
I can?
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
why not?
we know
I
where
mean,
you guys
I
are.
can.
You're at the camp.
I could technically put it like 120 feet up on a point on the tree, right? And then it shoots up. Like maybe there's a branch 120
You see it like
feet up.
spiraling up the tree, still highlighting its way up top. And we'll get to you guys in a second, as like we're probably 6 seconds into this right now, as the trees are still like snapping and falling towards the ground.
I hope they see it.
You now all 9 of the individuals are passed out on the ground. You still have the copper soldier who is feeding the individuals on your shoulder right now. And it seems as it gets closer, it's almost like searching for. It's like pushing the boxes aside. And the hive abomination presses forward. And you see one of the tentacles like slide along the ground and wrap around the captain and start to lift it inside of its mouth. And it pauses for a second.
Crow.
Well, we don't.
Should we just wind walk and fly to the ship? And then... Well, it takes a minute.
It does take a minute to cast.
No, we run.
Okay.
You can't.
Carnigal whispers or sort of like talks in your ear in his fair form, and he says, "Our air team has safely escaped the collapsed tree. I am at your command, Crow. I'm agile, keen in observation, expert in distraction, and, if distracted, deadly with the blade."
This is Carnival?
Yeah, this is Carnival on his shoulder, effectively saying like, "Use me, and I can help."
If you can get a ferret message over to them and let them know where we're at, so we can
I'm out of
quickly
messages,
get
unfortunately,
distracted.
and my ferret avatar that was with them is gone. It's destroyed.
Well then.
And we'll say that you guys are
Let's
running.
just
You guys are
keep
like
running this
running.
way
You
then.
guys, so you are only taking the copper soldier with you, and all of the other people are still on the ground.
Yes.
Bucky,
Okay.
if you can manage to grab one of these individuals, I think you should do
I
so.
look for this
Otherwise, let's get out of here.
Okay, and you guys are run. Where are you running? Like, where are you going
To the moonbeam?
To the moonbeam.
At the tree?
Yep.
It's 120 feet. Wouldn't it take us a little bit
You
to
would.
get there?
So, are you taking the elevator to the top?
No.
Is there an elevator in that tree?
No, we're running
Where
away
the
from
moonbeam
this
is?
thing in the opposite direction that it's coming in. And we're
So
using the
I thought you
moonbeam as a signal for the airship to pick us up.
So the moonbeam you said was going onto the Belvenuse tree
No.
as a signal.
Nope. No, it's we're sending the moonbeam in the opposite direction as the Cthulhu monster insectoid thing, and then we're running to meet up with the moonbeam, hoping that the moonbeam is like that they see the moonbeam as like the extraction point that we're rendezvousing.
Yeah,
at.
basically we're gonna try and run to the moonbeam, and if it's not high enough to reach above the trees, then from there I'll move it up 120 feet into those trees that are over there.
So you read the spell for moonbeam because I think it has to be contacting something physical in order for it to like
Well, maybe
reach the radius. Otherwise,
Couldn't it be
testing
like
it on the tree.
yeah, like
The tree's
120?
300 feet high, all of them.
How?
the
high?
tree is like 300 feet high.
Well, then setting it at the max height, which is 120 feet, and
Still
then it goes up
40
It'd be
feet.
like
So hopefully it's at, like-
240 feet in the air.
So what I'm saying is, these are the closest Belvenuse trees that you can see. You don't see any other tree.
Oh.
So if
I
you're
Oh,
going
no,
to run
like
in the
a thick
opposite
forest.
direction, no, not a thick forest. There's a Belvenuse tree maybe every few hundred meters.
Oh,
so
okay.
there's nothing.
Yeah, so like there's a reason why they chose this area because of its densely packed three
yeah,
trees.
I thought it was a forest too.
Well, if we run in that direction and don't see anything, then we'll
Well,
circle
we could
back.
just take an
Please.
elevator up to the top of a belt.
We still need to find out if your moonbeam actually needs to touch something physical. Otherwise,
It
running in the
does.
opposite direction. It does?
But I figured it would be like a point on the ground.
Okay, so
or the tree. That's not there. Well, I mean, that was us thinking that there was gonna be a tree there for us to like center the moonbeam on to use to like a signal. If there's not, if we run that direction and find that there's nothing, then we'll circle back to the right, still trying to go away from this thing, but like towards the tree. But that tree number 1 in that corner. Does that make sense?
Can we just like metagame and say that we didn't do that because we thought it was a forest?
yeah, we can say that. That's why I haven't moved you guys yet.
It's like a waste of time.
This whole place was okay.
So then should we just take the elevator up in that Belvenuse tree?
Yeah, I guess so.
We take the elevator in that Belvenuse tree.
Okay, let's see.
I mean, we gotta get to the top to get on that.
Yeah, but I mean,
Shit.
with a giant monster coming, I'm sure.
The tent. So yeah.
So that guy who was very close to the elevator was just gobbled up by the monster, or at least.
And the monster has sort of like paused for a second. It like swept everything else out of the way, grabbed the captain, and started feasting on it. And as you sort of started to hear the crunch and like the crushing of metal armor, it sort of almost like went into a lulled state.
It's digesting.
Does anybody know Abyssal here?
Let me see.
Yeah, no.
No.
Oh,
No, giant. It's a giant.
I do.
Is it adjacent to Gnomish?
Not at all whatsoever. Okay, so
I guess.
if you guys can move your piece, so I don't have to keep lifting
Can
the
I-
mic up.
Can I cast Pass Without Trace on us as we make our way to the elevator?
Is it concentration?
It should have a
Pretty sure it is.
symbol.
Down.
Like right next to Pass Without Trace, if it's concentration, it'll have a C with a diamond next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Concentration.
Pass without traces?
Yes.
So your moonbeam would fade.
I see.
Then
Well, the thing is, if you're taking the elevator up, the moonbeam can go with.
yeah, no. Okay. You need to cast that thing that makes it hard for us to be seen right now. If we're moving closer towards the
Then
monster.
I cast Pass Without Trace.
Okay, roll stealth checks. Roll at disadvantage, Crow, because you're carrying a person with copper armor. And your movement speed is halved because you're carrying someone. Thunky, if you're carrying somebody, your movement speed is also halved.
Did I pick up that guy that you said you wanted me to pick
I don't
up?
know, did you? What do I add
never
with
actually
Pass Without
said that.
Trace?
What?
10.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 26.
Okay.
Oh.
I apologize. Did you pick up somebody or no?
I don't think I did.
I told her to.
It's up to Thunky to look
Oh.
at the passed out people on the ground and make her decision. To shave or not to shave?
23.
Okay. So you both make it to the constant. It's not like an elevator you start. It's a constantly rotating platform, sort of like mechanism. So you just grab onto the rope, put your foot in one of the sort of like buckets or platforms that hoist these like the payloads down and up, and you are going up at maybe 60 feet per turn is what it would be. So out of 300, it would take 5 turns to get all the way up. So you grab on and you start moving up. If you could move your pieces, if you already did, onto the platform, and the tentacles, you start to see some of the tentacles on the outside portion of the massive tentacles start to like slowly curl outward and almost in search of different prey. And as you guys meet the circling elevator, we'll go to Max and Herchek and Varkir.
Can I just
So
do
that was 2
one
turns.
last thing as we're like going up? I'd like to look back at this Cthulhu thing and do a perception check. I'm trying to investigate this dude.
Okay. With a Thunky also has a 23 passive perception. So like I would say out of Thunky's usually pretty aware of most things going around, maybe just not the kind of person who would notify. I'm not sure. But yeah, go ahead and roll perception check. You can see skin that almost blends in with the fog around it, this very pale skin and hair as well. You can't make out much more, but you do see this, like, the vague outline of shifting cables and almost like tendrils that are sort of like writhing behind and very close to the rider on top. And you see the rider, you see the hands of the rider move as well. You can't quite make out what they're doing, but they're active. All right, and you guys are ascending upward.
Okay, what do you see?
This is what I see.
That's what Donkey sees as well?
Thunky would
23?
Thunky would have to purposely look at it. Like, Thunky is afforded the opportunity of perception rolls if her perception meets a certain bar outside of combat, I would say. But she has to purposely say, like, I'm looking for this inside of combat.
Oh, okay. Dude, what do you see over there?
I say where? I look over specifically at the dude on top of
So, yeah, as you turn around, like a tentacle just waves over you guys and sort of like blows air, presses air against you. Roll a perception check.
Oh my god.
As like I would say the RP equivalent of this is Crow saying, like, it seems like someone is on top, like
There's a guy on
something
top?
is happening and I can't quite tell, but it seems like they're active in some way.
I got a 25.
A 25. You can see the skin clearly. It's they've got long, straight white hair, and it seems as though organic tendrils are connecting across their head and shoulders and back as they're just sort of like shifting in place. And the amount that they're shifting and how they are correlates almost exactly with the finger movements and motions of this. If you've seen Tim, you spent a lot of time around Tim, a Duragar, a member of like the drow sort of species. This is a drow elf, and their eyes are absent of color, just like their skin, as it almost seems like they're in a tranced state, but almost also purposely controlling. Like the finger flick, you'll see the tentacle or the tendrils move behind it, and then you'll see a set of tentacles correspond evenly. And
That guy is definitely piloting that giant tentacle monster.
from my research and the whispers I've heard, that lines up as well. It is being controlled. Normally, these are docile members, known to be extinct. As you guys sort of ascend up, and Carnigal still speaking, talking about the Hive Abomination. We transition to you folk, who just heard the slamming of the tree as both sets of trees meet the ground. And some of the force actually shifted the clouds upward and pressed Nalhallis's eye higher towards the sky a little bit, but still within the concealment of the fog. Spectromir, the flute in her hand, sort of crumbles away, and you see the lines in between her armor highlight pink and coalesce by her shoulder blades, and these almost fairy light, these fairy wings made of light spread out, and they don't actually move. They're almost like static in place. And she runs towards the edge, and she almost like glides right off and disappears. Quenzel, your Arakakra captain compadre, says, "Oh, I almost forgot. The Oladon furry fellow left a set of potions for you guys. It's the potions of flight, but it's like F and L are capitalized on the label. I didn't get it, but maybe you will." And he sort of like kicks this box of potions. Cling, 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 cling.
Oh, you think you're gonna be a little more gentle with that?
Dire times, man.
How's the ship looking?
I don't know. I was barely able to patch it up. We're going to need a bit more helium, but We'll have to stop soon. I can't make much distance. I can't even gain any air
Can
here.
you go down to the camp? We gotta pick up Crow and Thunky.
Roll.
Fuck Carnival.
You fucking. I would say roll a perception check as this mass just shifted down towards you.
12.
12. You don't see it. Roll a perception check, Varkir.
6.
Neither of you see anything, but Quenzel goes, "It seemed dangerous down there, but I guess we gotta
14.
pick him up." You know definitely the direction of the camp, I would say. You can hear sort of like the mass moving forward, but you don't know specifically where your companions are. Like, either Varkir would have to message, or you'd have to find some way to make contact with them right now. But Quenzel is sort of like turning the ship where it's going away from the camp, and it's turning around back towards the. You even see this sort of like vague dot silhouette through all of the mass of the fog in front of you, and a dark pillar silhouette of one of the Belvenus trees.
Okay. Walk over and pick up one of the potions, and throw one to my boy, Markier. You gonna take one?
Sure. What are these potions?
I'll tell you in a minute, and I pound it.
Okay. Roll a Constitution saving throw.
God damn it. Thank God it's just that. 14.
Okay, you pound the potion and are trying to like wait for the effects to set in and trying to like analyze, and your shoulder blades start to feel like they're stretching out of their sockets and just like pressing outward and outward and outward, and your arms are taken back automatically with this stretching, and they're and you now have formed massive wings, maybe 8 feet in length. Where your right wing is 8 feet.
Right
your
foot,
left,
my left leg.
your left wing is 8 feet, and your hands, your fingers stretch outward into almost like that of a bat's fingers. And it's like you have what is almost like a bat set of wings, similar to an Unagoth. You have sort of like taken on the upper body of an Unagoth, and you have just barely enough sort of like articulation in your fingers to maybe grab something, or but yeah, your arms shifted into wings essentially.
This is what it does, Markier. I kind of do a couple test flaps.
You press the fog, just like, and it clears the way in front of you for about 8 feet as well. Just like a simple, and like you have to tense your legs to stop from pushing yourself backwards.
Seems easy enough. I'm gonna go do some scouting to see where they're at.
Good. You do that. I'm just gonna take this potion and put it in my bag.
Of course you are, hoarder.
I'm not gonna fly around right now in this fog.
Is there still fire on the ship?
No, it is a small. It's not even cinders right now. It's like a small smoke that's like at the end of its life.
Cool. I'm gonna look over the stern or the bow, wherever I'm closest to, just kind of like do a perception check, see what I see.
It's just fog, man. You just see the silhouettes
As much as I can.
Okay, roll a strength check.
Natural 20.
Holy shit. Where were you facing?
Wherever I was closest to, bow or stern. So wherever I'm closest to on Hollis's eye, you can place me wherever.
I really need to learn ship things. What's the bow and what's the stern?
Like, isn't like the bow or stern?
It's the front of the ship.
Port, stern.
Bow.
Yeah.
Okay. Since it's turning towards the camp, and it, like a swirling vortex, just like clears the way and is almost like this tunnel vision moment where it's just like swirling and removing all of the fog, and meets just this. You start to see these. Why am I having trouble explaining this? At the very end of it, it sort of like hits the ground, and you see these boxes, and you see just this like mass of tentacles lifting this this copper-clad individual, just like, and you only saw the tentacles.
I just go, Quetzal. I point in that direction, like camps that way, and I just jump off.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and roll an acrobatics check to see how successful you can, or athletics, either one. As he jumps off, you start to hear
15.
the familiar sort of like swooping of Unagoths in the area.
15.
15? It takes you a brief moment to sort of like you flap a little bit too hard and push yourself up, and then you sort of like try and catch yourself as you're going down, and you finally hold out your wings and sort of manage to sort of stabilize yourself and slowly press down and realize that that's really all you need to stay afloat. And then you sort of like practice bringing your wings in, come down, bring them out, and you've gained some prowess. You've got about 60 feet of movement per round. If you want to use your action, it'll be 120.
Cool.
You do still have the brood flute with you, though it looks like it mainly only has about one potential spurt left in it. At this point, I would like everybody to roll initiative as we've sort of caught up to each other.
Oh, I thought we were be out of contact.
14 plus 5 is 19. So 19. What'd you get, Remy?
19.
You son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
You could just roll the same as I roll.
You both rolled 19s?
Yep.
Way to go, guys!
That's what I didn't roll.
Yeah.
No.
Not natural 20. Okay. So.
Natural 5.
All right. Who has a higher dexterity out of you two?
I have a 1.
I have a none.
Okay. So then.
Is this like new battle music?
It's not new, actually.
I know. I'm just.
All right. I need to get better new
We all
new
know.
music in general. Crow, you are first, followed by her check, followed by Varkir, followed by who knows.
Can we take a quick bathroom break before we start battle?
Sure. Crow, you're up with Carnigal as well, as you are sort of like go. Yeah. So you are up with Carnigal on your shoulder. Carnigal is just sort of like, even in his ferret form, you can see his eyes are just like locked on the creature and also just like trying to scan the environment. As you guys are about like little under eye level right now with the hive abomination.
Under eye level. Okay. And
Oh. Yep.
I'm gonna whisper it back here. Okay.
Hey.
If this situation goes sour, you take the captive, and I'm going to attack. Try to attack the.
If it goes sour, she takes the captive.
Yes. I'll transfer the captive over to you, and I'm going to try and attack the individual on top of that monster.
Okay. Do you want to just transfer him now? Preemptively?
That's a good plan.
I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna like, because I think that I'm higher on the rope than her, so I'm gonna like move the detained person
the nice enemy over to Funky's shoulder.
Okay.
And I also have Carnival on my shoulder.
Okay. So that's going to be your action.
Yeah.
Passing an entire body off.
Yeah, I can't really do anything else. We're just at the will of the speed of this rope.
Okay. Getting fancy here. Herchek, you are up after. I'm just saying. I'm preparing him. He's up after you.
About how far away are we from the monster?
I would probably say. Well, I mean, let's see. He's right here.
Like, do I surmise that I could, at the right height, jump
About 30 feet.
across?
About. You think you could easily, like right now, you'd be jumping horizontally at it. If you waited a little while, it would be of no matter to just, like, jump off and sort of like dive towards it.
Okay.
Unless you have a way to, you do have the piston peg leg, so.
Yeah. No, totally. If that, I'm gonna prepare an attack. If I see a tentacle coming like really close to us, and basically that thing shifts focus towards us, I'm gonna attempt to leap toward it. Whether or not I think I can make it directly on, like, at the individual or even lower, I'll still jump.
Okay.
At it.
All right. Herchek, you up.
All right. So I'm flying in that same direction of which I did that tunnel.
Yeah, I would say you're about 200 feet from, like, you did the gust of wind and you were 200 feet away.
So I'm like right here in this area.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Still can't really see anything much.
At that distance, oh yeah, Moonbeam wasn't up. At that distance, you can see the vague outlines of like the largest formations in the camp. Like you can see the overturned black Belbanus trees and you on the right, and you can see the one ascending, and you can hear the like of the elevator.
I'm going towards that sound of the elevator. I'm just gonna try to make my way down towards the camp, and then whatever I see, I'm trying to.
Why are you going towards that sound?
It's going
trying
up.
To separate the metagame from the.
It's an elevator going up. I don't see anybody on the ground, do I?
He jumped out saying he's gonna look for us.
I don't see anybody on the ground. If I don't see anybody on the ground,
well, you don't have clear visibility on the ground.
Then I'm going towards the ground.
Okay. Yeah, if you have 120 feet, if you use your action to dash, and then you have a bonus action. So if you want to use your 60 feet, do a bonus action to like perception check, you can do that, and then what happens afterwards, you can, however you want to use your action after that is up to you.
Sure, let's do that.
All right.
Do perception. 13.
With pass without trace on,
I don't see them?
No.
Okay, then I'm flying up.
Okay. Flying up where?
Towards that the elevator sound. Because if I don't see them on the ground, they're not there. I need to see who's in the elevator.
Well, no, I'm saying like you. It doesn't mean that you scanned the area and saw nothing. It means that you didn't actually see much to begin with. Like there was obscure, like you weren't satisfied with your search, if that makes sense. Like you rolled a 13 and you didn't like survey enough of the area.
Flying up.
Okay. Yeah, I would say you'd be like within the realm of the camp.
But I see the hive mind, right?
You now see like the reflective portions of the eyes through the fog. You don't see much else other than like the moving tentacles and just its large mass in like still currently.
Okay. With the and that's everything. You
use your action to, you use your movement to move, bonus action to perceive, action to move. That'd be everything.
Okay.
Varkir.
So I guess I am going to. How is No Hollis' eye looking right now?
let's just say if he descends, he won't be able to ascend. Like the portion that got blasted by the fireball in the front is like the wood of the ship is okay. There's some splinters at the front, but it's like the balloon itself is it doesn't look like it's as full as it should be, and like you can even hear like coming out of the very makeshift quick patch that Quenzel did.
Can I go up to like parts of the ship that are broken? I guess would I be able to cast spells when I use that potion, or is that no?
Taking a potion is a bonus action.
I'll take the flying thing, and I want to fly up to wherever the balloon is broken and use mending on it, just to mend the seal the balloon basically, so it's not leaking any more air.
Okay. All right, yeah, that's everything. You sort of like you maintain as it's pushing forward through the fog. You sort of like maintain. Actually, roll an athletics or acrobatics check, whichever one you are proficient at.
I guess we'll do our athletics.
You might be spending the turn, just like acclimating.
So that is 12.
You like towards the very end of like, oh shit, like it's getting away from you. You start to figure out the ebb and flow of it as well. It's like almost embedded into your system is this natural knowledge of how to use it. Just like took a little while to get your form that's never done this before into the flow of it, and you managed to fly up and just sort of like soar alongside it and pass your elongated fingers and mend the balloon, and now it can maintain its form, but it can only go up a certain height. Like it won't be able to ascend still fully, but it is looking better now. Thanks, buddy. No Hollis be with you. Oh. And you still hear the around you. Next up is creature, and you see this sort of like pink flash Herchek come in, and this bright white light sort of like arcs, the pink light arcs down and is like diving. It's the same light that Spectromir was giving off, and you see emanate from this pink light through the fog this very bright cone of light that she used on the Unagoth before, and just like sear down the face of the tentacles, and it just almost reactionary, like one just shoots up and just smacks Spectromir out of the air.
Jesus.
And you see the light immediately disappear, and the pink wings just slam into the Belvenus tree. That's she impacts right like to the bottom right of you guys, or bottom left of you guys, and is like held just from the force alone into the tree, and then just sort of like slides down.
Can I do it?
And not now, unfortunately, because you use if you were to like hold your action, but her magic is still up, so she's not unconscious. She just got like fucking beat. And actually, I need to. Okay. It takes quite a hefty sum of damage. Next up, Fork here, you notice a shadow like pull up next to you, and as you look to your side, you just see this ugly face. It's very reminiscent of when you ascended through the clouds and saw the dead Unagoth pinned to the sides of the Belvenus tree, but it's sort of like not looking at you. It's not attacking you, and it just sort of flies down.
Okay. Well then.
As you guys are ascending, and you would see this as well, Herchek, because you're right in the area. You see these almost Zerg-like creatures prance or like spike hand their way into the camp, as it's actually like the last bit of visibility from the ground level, and just almost swarm around the individuals on the ground, the slaves. And then Thunky, you're up. Oopsies.
Yeah, the best sleep. They'll never
You imagine
wake up
they were
from.
like waiting for
They were all asleep. Right?
all of the creatures were asleep?
The slaves?
Oh yeah, the slaves are definitely asleep. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
probably, you know their fate.
So are we almost to the top then?
You are not almost to the top at all. You are, now that it's your turn.
We have 5 turns and we just spent 1 turn.
That was only one turn?
There's only one turn. Well, at the end of this turn, you
Welcome
guys
to
will
D&D.
you will have ascended another
2. You said 60, so 120.
no, because you guys just got on.
Wasn't your moonbeam on from the last game?
You guys just got on,
we're
so
not
like,
using Moonbeam right now.
so this turn you will be at the, starting next turn you will be at the 120 feet part, at the 120 foot portion.
Takes a long time to go. Oh yeah. The elevator's probably really slow.
Yeah, it's not like a wee. But it's the creature has not actually motioned towards you. Looking at the drow on top, it wasn't making any aggressive actions towards you. Actually, roll another perception check.
Like well over 20.
You notice it pulling in the various different soldiers into its mouth, like the corpses on the ground of the soldiers, even before the other insectoid smaller creatures get to it. The tentacles wrap them and bring. It seems to be focused on like cleaning up the corpses of the Denebron army.
How big is the platform that we're kind of standing
You are holding onto a rope, and your foot is like in a bucket.
in a bucket. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
It's like it's a pretty significant bucket, but it's not like you don't have a huge like platform that you're ascending on, contrary to the visual.
I'm gonna talk to Crow. I'm gonna say, I think it just wants the corpses. It doesn't want anything to do with us. I think as long as, we lie low, we might be okay. It doesn't seem to want us at all. Maybe it just wanted to pick on those guys because they're destroying the forest, but we're kind of like good guys,
Let's hope you're right.
Do you know any hand signals that mean like peace for like elven people? Like peace sign? Is that offensive to them? Do you know this?
No.
I guess, let me see. Can I prepare animal friendship? Wait, let me see how far that could go.
It's an insect.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't work on it.
I mean, there's not really much we can do.
Yeah, there's really nothing.
And
You can hold your action for when, even though this is the end of the turn, I'll say
I
you
guess that's
probably
true.
get 2 turns next time. Or you'll be able to fulfill the held action and still do your turn.
I will hold action lightning bolt. In case the drow elf decides to make an attack on us, I'm just
Okay.
gonna be ready.
Holding a lightning bolt against the drow.
Against the tentacle thing. He's controlling the tentacle thing, right?
I don't know.
He's definitely piloting it.
So that's it. So are you holding it? So you're holding it towards the mat, like the large hive abomination, or you're holding it towards the drow?
If I if I hold it towards the drow, do I have to make like an attack at disadvantage or something, or does he get an attack or?
I'd say there's going to be one
dexterity
more.
saving throw
You're going to
bonus?
have one more round of visibility on this guy, especially with your perception, that you wouldn't roll at disadvantage. And after that, when the fog sort of like obscures everything, then you would roll at disadvantage.
All right, then I'll do it to attack the drow.
Okay. Her check Crow car, you're up. You still have Carnigal as like a, I would say, on top of everything you can do, you can use a free action to like command Carnigal to just use your imagination to what you might think you might be able to do.
I prefer Carnicrow.
Cronigal.
Chronicle. I like that too. Yeah, I mean, my objective is to get out of here, so I'm just gonna keep holding onto this rope and stay poised, ready to jump out at that drow, because you told me it's a drow.
Okay. Her check, you're up.
Just gotta start off with a percepcy. Check-sees.
Okay, go for it.
Worse than the first time. Don't see shit.
You can move. You can. Well, I guess that would make sense. Okay, you.
I'm gonna fly up 60 feet.
Okay, you did see Spectromere get smacked. I don't know.
Oh
if that's
fuck!
going to...
Totally forgot about that. Retcon everything I just did.
Okay.
Flying over to Spectromere for sure. Z's. Do I have enough?
I can move.
Where? Over here. Can I get a creature figure for Spectromere here?
We'll do.
Yeah, these three too.
Which ones?
Bad guys and a barbarian.
We'll do this for Spectromere.
And she's like here.
No, he said,
Yeah.
Here.
No, you said that she hit to our bottom left. So
She's sliding down the
she'd
tree.
be like there.
It's bottom right.
That's bottom right. From where
Yeah,
you-
bottom
Oh,
left is in like if you're facing away from the platform, bottom left would be. That's where I was envisioning it. If I described it that way, then we can it doesn't.
But he would not see her. Even okay, wait.
No, she was highlighted by. She's still like her wings are still showing.
That's fine. That's fine. Semantics.
Okay.
Can I make it to her within 60 feet?
Roll strength check. Because you wouldn't. She's about 80 feet away from you.
21.
Yeah, I'd say with one sort of like sorting, like carving around in between the tree and the massive tentacle monster, just like.
Is she conscious at all?
She's just now like standing up, and her wings are still alit, and she's like shaking it
Let's
off.
go. We gotta get out of here. And I point over there. Not a good thing. We gotta go. Nahalos' eye. What are you doing over here?
She looks at you. Her eyes are like still sort of dizzy, and she nods her head and just like makes this get the fuck out like Nahalos' eye.
Did you see Thunky or a crow? Let's fucking go.
Okay. She will follow you then.
And we're at the tree that this elevator's at.
Yes, you are.
Flying straight up.
Okay. With your action?
Yes.
Okay.
There's nothing else I can do. Unless she can't fly right now.
No, she can fly.
Okay.
She can't fly as far as you though, so
I'll just keep up with her. So I'll go as she's following me, but I'm gonna keep at her pace.
Okay.
She's probably like 50 feet, 40
They
feet,
don't see us.
She's with a full action. She can go 60 feet.
60 feet.
Yeah.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll just do 60 feet. Then.
Okay, so then that's you're
that'll-
using your action to.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's going to follow you. Use her full action. It's gonna in the weird progression of this order. She's a few down, but she is, in a weird sense, behind you. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Varkir, you're up.
since I saw that, I guess I'm just going to like put the bird flute in my mouth and just be prepared. And I'm just gonna, fly around the halls as I just
Patrolling.
Okay. So what
Is that
would
a full
cause
action?
you
Is
to?
that a full action?
No,
to pull
you're
out?
you're.
If I start hearing the Unigoth like,
And you notice, like, as you
screaming
think about bringing out the brood flute, you look at your hands, and your feet are actually like a harpy's, and it's bringing, as you're like trying to figure out what you're gonna do with your hands, your feet are already bringing the brood flute out. As they've sort of like coalesced into these taloned hands. So you're holding your action, but you're like,
if I hear like a Unigoth like doing the whole like attack dive thing, I'm gonna just start playing it to make them a little more docile, I guess.
okay. And you hear Quenzel like nervously like singing old.
Yep.
We were singing.
You're not helping. Well, I can't say that because I have food in my mouth. But he knows I'm thinking.
Oh my god. Sorry.
The head of the and you're following the ship. Quenzel's getting closer. I'd say you guys are within. Roll a perception check, actually.
9.
You hear like the muffled shouting of something that you can barely make out, but you can like you can't piece anything together, but it sounds like something that if you were to get closer, you could understand. And you guys, everybody within the vicinity of the camp hears the drow like now like shouting and like using his hands and pointing and like and like the tentacles are erratic and like turning over the Belvenus tree, grabbing the Ossian hounds, fitting it into its mouth, and almost like trying to clear out all of this. It's like grabbing a portion of the all of the machinery around. It's like wrapping its tentacle and like breaking, and wrapping its tentacle around and breaking. And you notice one of its tentacles curling its way towards the elevator. Next up,
I have a crazy idea.
You also hear the creaking and shifting of metal above you guys, and like the top of the tree shakes, and you hear. I can't do an Unagoth screech right now, but you hear the screeching of multiple Unagoths like above you in the area. And you still hear sort of like the chomping of many tiny mouths and teeth and pincers below you, pulping and everything, as you guys will have met the 120-foot mark. Thunky, you're up.
So you said
and Spectromir is following you right now, her check.
The tentacle is coming towards us right now?
You just see, like, as it's getting foggier and foggier, the tentacles, like, a few of them, it was one, and then almost like a chain start to sort of, like, feel around the base of where you're at.
And we still have, like, 3 turns to go.
Yeah, potentially. Crow, I would say if you wanted to use this opportunity to slash at the tentacle, you could. But you and Thunky are sort of in this battle of what is right and wrong right now, I think.
Wait, you're saying I can go right now?
A few tentacles are, like, as they're destroying all of the Denebron machinery, like clearing out the soldiers, like ripping the boxes apart, and it's just these tentacles. A few are now sort of like going towards the machinery that you're now riding.
I'm letting loose my lightning bolt that I held. at the drow.
Okay.
It's a dexterity saving throw.
Are you notifying Crow at all?
As soon
You
as
just-
I see that, like, I'm right there with her. So as soon as I see her raise her hand, I'm like engaging the I forget what that thing is called.
Piston peg leg.
Peg leg.
So you can think of the piston peg leg at any angle. If you use the tree, you can either shoot down, you can shoot up and arc down, you can shoot directly forward. Right now you are raising above eye level of the hive abomination.
At 120 feet.
It's 100 feet tall.
Okay, then I'm gonna try to like jump at an upwards arc, maybe like 35 degrees.
And what are you attacking?
The drow.
Okay. It can't move, so it'll roll at disadvantage. It's rolled a 5, so and a 17. Good thing you rolled a 5. So you roll full damage, Thunky. As Thunky releases it, you're almost like following the light, jumping up and over.
It's a 28 damage.
28 damage. You see this immediately. You don't have your turn just yet. It's coming, but you see now just above you this very familiar sight to you. You know exactly where Thunky is.
Cool.
And you see a shadow sort of like through the fog.
Why did you say that the drow is at disadvantage?
Because the drow isn't... The drow is like... You... Unless Thunky told you this, you might not know, but the drow is like affixed to this... to the Hive Abomination.
It's very important as to whether it's at disadvantage when I attack it as well.
It is.
Great.
And yeah, okay. Go ahead and roll to attack.
Yeah. Does this count as combat with us? I'm guessing.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
And it didn't previously know where you were either, so because of your concealment, I've been rolling perception checks for it every round.
Awesome. I'm gonna like I still have my my blade on my back, but I'm gonna attack it with a stunning strike and then use Fury of Blows on it.
Okay.
If I can make it over to it.
It's 30 feet away. Can you read what the piston peg leg does? I'm fairly certain you can make it with ease.
It doubled my jumping height. Yeah.
30 feet.
And I'll use a key point also to use Step of the Wind, which it says it doubles my jumping distance.
So you use the piston peg leg and sort of shoot yourself up in the air. Again, the sort of like coursing lightning is passing below you, almost like a light bridge, connecting to this drow creature. And you realize you might not make it. And still, before you reach the apex of your jump, you just, like, almost like a double jump, use Step of the Wind to shift yourself forward and propel your motion even more. And I would say you just roll to attack now. You have secured the distance. And it's like to the point where you can even go so far as to be directly above him and then come down, or just like even use Step of the Wind to angle yourself towards him.
Why is he at disadvantage?
The drow's at disadvantage because it's affixed to the top of this creature.
For dexterity moves, though? When you still have to use AC?
Oh, wait, yeah. You said it's very important if they're at disadvantage.
Yeah, for sneak attack.
Oh, so anytime they're at disadvantage, you get sneak attack?
That's what it says here. It says that if you have advantage on the attack roll. It says once per turn you can deal an extra 3d6 damage to one creature you hit with an attack if you have advantage on the attack roll.
Okay. As you're coming down towards it, roll a dexterity saving throw.
Can I also do one more thing since I did my held action?
It was the creatures, and then it was Thunky, and then... Yes, you can.
Good.
and you see Crow coming down, and you see a tentacle like whip up and try and almost reactionary, like the drow isn't even aware as it's being pulsed with this electric energy. This tentacle sort of comes around, tries to arc at Crow. What did you roll?
23.
You sort of like twist your back around. You can feel it passing along the wood architecture of your shoulder blades and just dive around and almost like spiral down the tendril towards the drow.
Sweet. And I don't know, as we don't do this often, but can I replace my punches with kicks?
Yeah, easily.
I'd like to do that.
Okay.
And because I'm trying to basically do
Deku.
stunning strike, and use my extra attack and my bonus action for Fury Blows, I'd like to do like a whirlwind of kicks.
So like you turn your back to effectively avoid the tentacle and then use the spin to gain momentum with your leg as you like lock eyes onto him as he's the lightning has fully coursed through him and he's still sort of like and you can see it sort of like splaying across the cabling as well as the cabling is just like freaking out. Go ahead, roll to attack, unless you already did. There's sort of a lot is going on with you right now.
No, I didn't. We'll say this is the stunning strike. That hits. Not natural 20. And then this is the extra attack.
Hits. Yep.
Fuck, that was not supposed to be. Or is that? Are they all at advantage?
Your attacks would be at they would be at advantage because he can't move. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Then 20, 22.
Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about this wrong. He still would be able to move because he just moved the creature. But so, what was your original roll? It's like otherwise everything is going to destroy him.
My first one was was it 20? No, not natural 20.
Then yeah, that hits still.
Sorry. So I did my stunning strike 20, and then I roll again, not at advantage.
Yeah.
That was in 22, and then these are for Fury Blows.
Go for it.
Let's do.
And he was unaware of your presence, so I think assassinate works here if that was a thing. Are you trying to do the math in your head, Rummy? I might need this.
No, I'm just never mind. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
And then 20. Or no, sorry. 21.
To hit?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So 17 is his armor class. So if you roll above 17, then you're good.
Sweet. Oh, I'm so sorry. He rolls a Constitution saving throw against the stunning strike. He's got to beat a 14.
You, like, your first kick just snaps his head backwards, and his almost like body tries to leave the sort of like black furred seat that he's sitting in, and the cables sort of like wave outwards, and he rolled a 1, so he's just like,
wow. Sweet. That's it. I guess I just gotta roll damage.
yeah, you'll do. And then Thunky, you are up, and then Herchek, you're up after Thunky.
I'm cast.
After Thunky?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Crow is actually up after wow, this is so they are super dupering this.
I'm casting Moonbeam on the drow.
Crow is like currently. Does it affect Crow? Does it affect your teammates? Moonbeam.
No. Wait, is Crow now on top of the tentacle monster?
Yeah, Crow is on top of the drow. Like you see
Oh,
Crow
fuck,
just
I
like
missed
this this quite literal flurry of
Okay.
blows from
Move
Crow.
him, and then
Thank you,
Crow's
Hershey.
over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if he's within 5 feet of that guy.
Okay. It's kind of important to move characters.
And you guys can, if you wanted to, combine your turns as well. But I would say wait for Crow's damage because I have a feeling it might be important.
In that case, I'm going to hold my action again for Moonbeam until Crow moves out of the way. Until you move 5 feet out of the way.
Again, I would say wait until you even describe what you want to do until his damage comes in because it could be an incredible amount.
Wait, I thought you just
Can I
went.
see your phone? I just don't have that much villainy dice.
Wow.
Hmm.
He
Dice
snaps
roller's
back to it and
already
says,
up.
"Oh yeah."
There you go.
20 D10s.
Yeah, okay, so that's
What
right.
did you get? Something really low?
Okay. So I rolled I got 21 damage.
That's it?
That's it.
The 3d6 total I rolled was 5. And then the 3d8 was
Jesus.
6.
Even with the assassinate critical.
I'm not gonna take that only because he was already smacking us around. So assassinate only works if they're not in combat already.
Oh, okay, got it.
22,
you said?
21.
21.
But he's stunned.
And what does that do? Just everything has advantage?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you see Crow just like whirling and whirling on him, just like kicking the shit out of this guy, but he sort of like comes back in this like this stunned smile, this almost like maniacal smile. And you two can either decide to go at the same time and do something if you wanted to, or Thunky, you are up. But so you see that he's still sort of like pretty filled with vitality, the drow, and Crow is right up in his face. So if you want to hold your action for Moonbeam, you can. And then Crow, you're up after.
Yeah, I'll hold my action for Moonbeam.
Okay.
But can I yell out to Crow?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a signal if you need me to wild shape into a large animal and come and pick you up, I guess.
I guess.
I can't take this guy on my back, but I could probably fly over there and pick you up if you need me to.
Just plan for that.
Give me a hand signal.
Keep going. Regroup with the group.
Okay.
Regroup with
the group.
The group.
Yeah.
You're up, Crow. And then her check number here.
Okay. Man. Okay. So I'm just gonna.
Poop a shoot.
Sneak attack him again.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
How do you sneak
is it
attack?
still
when
sneak
you're,
attack?
like,
'Cause he's
standing
stunned.
on top of him?
And so it's at advantage, and I would say you wouldn't get he wouldn't be at disadvantage. I'm gonna retcon that because it's like a thing I invented. So I've written a lot out, but I'm figuring out a little bit as I go.
If he's stunned, wouldn't that be an automatic crit?
You can only use one.
Stunned creatures in capacity.
So
Can't move, can't speak. A creature automatically fails strength and attack rolls against it. He just has advantage with stunned.
you can't do two key point moves at once.
Are you sure? I asked about that several times.
If you do, they both take up your bonus action.
Which one does?
Swift movement and stunning and the flurry of blows. So if you use one, you can't use the other.
Oh.
We'll just say that you don't have a bonus action this turn.
Okay.
can he use a key action or key point for his action, like during his action?
Like if you attack, then that one key point you use takes up your bonus action to do that flare of blows, or to do that step of the wind, or to do that patient defense.
Thank you. Then yeah, I would say you just have your attacks right now, because you did step of the wind and stunning strike, and did you do flurry of blows?
Yeah. The stunning strike is my action, and then he's right. What is it? The step of the wind is a bonus action. So is fear of blows.
Okay.
I mean, I only have one more left, so I'm gonna hold that. But I'm gonna, just use sneak attack on it again.
Okay.
I'd like to, if it lands, do it like Ipmon, just like grab his neck while he's stunned and
Is Carnigal still with you?
Carnigal is still with you, and you still have like Carnigal as a
That's another person.
free action.
That's another person within 5 feet.
So there's a sneak attack.
Oh, definitely.
I'm not controlling Carnigal right now. He's
attack.
within.
I don't know what to do with Ferret guy.
He told you he's great at attacking. He's great at if they are distracted or like. He's great at what was it? Distraction. He's super keen. He can point things out. He can if somebody is incapacitated or distracted, he's also really good at sort of like deadly blows. So.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what to do with Carnival right now, so I'm just gonna attack this guy.
Okay.
He has exploding ferrets.
What?
He has exploding ferrets.
So what Carnigal also does, and I'm not sure you guys have noticed, but he uses his mage hand to like pull people into some of your attacks when you roll a little bit lower. He can only do it once a round, but like I would say add 5 onto whatever you rolled, because like
still not enough. I rolled 2 2s.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like you see the head of this drow get pulled like closer towards the angle of your fist, but still your fist manages to just like one of the cables sort of like jumps up and like blocks your blow. Your hand gets a little tangled. You gotta bring it back.
I think Carnival, if you can signal the others to find us, you need to do that now. And maybe like point him at one of the tentacles to like go off the tentacle and meet back up with Funky. If he can use his mage hand to do that shit, to move the tentacle to like be, in the direction of the tree, then that's ideal.
He wouldn't necessarily be able to, like, these tentacles are hundreds of, maybe thousands of pounds. We'll say that he like leaps off of your shoulder as your hand gets caught, and as you sort of look at him to do this, he leaps off your shoulder, like grabs the face, so sort of like, not Dende. Dende? What's his name? Dragon Ball Z.
Dende?
Dende? Was it Dende?
Chaozu.
Chaozu. Who the fuck? Oh, Dende. Jeez, no, not Dende. Chaozu.
I was like, yeah,
so,
you're
like,
right with Dende.
The ferret wraps its sort of body around the drow's like still stunned face, and just like he's Carnigal says, "Close your eyes," and sort of like flares out this light to everybody. You see this, Varkir, and now the ship is about. It's like circling almost inside of the camp now. And everybody sort of sees this beacon that's highlit, and you see sort of like the silhouette of Crow's body in front of this drow, and the tentacles are sort of like splaying out shadows of their waving. Actually, they're currently sort of like locked in jittering place right now, and it just sort of like highlights the area. Anybody who attacks will have advantage. Actually, will already have advantage because of they're stunned, but this sort of like definitely pointed out what was just like almost created a guiding light for a split second and revealed everything. Herchek, you're up.
Cool. Gonna fly. I saw during all of this, I saw the beam and I saw a crow jump over.
You saw the shadow of something jump over, and almost very soon afterwards, you saw the silhouette of crow on top.
Cool. And how much is of feet away from me?
You were 60 feet in the air. It would like genuinely be 60 feet away from you at this point.
All right. Gonna
the drow, or the head, that is.
Okay. Then I'm going to fly to the drow.
Okay.
And as I'm going, like, I'm gonna yell out to Spectrum here as I'm flying away, like, "Find Thunky!" And I'm just gonna go straight to the drow, pulling out. Oh fuck.
You, similar to what happened with Varkir, as you think about, like, oh shit, my hands.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was like, my
You
hands.
hear like shing, and you realize that your feet are also more articulatable talons, and you have what?
Your hands are on your feet now.
Yeah.
Not gonna risk it. Gonna go straight to the drow. I'm gonna try to rip him off the hive mind.
Okay, with your taloned.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Are you raging?
Yeah, I'm gonna rage midway through.
Okay. Following the light up, arcing up the frozen tentacles currently. One of the things contributing to your confidence in this matter, and you sort of like pass Crow, look at Crow, grab into your talons, sink into the flesh of this drow, and make a strength check.
A lot. 18 plus 5. It's 23.
Crow, you see just like and hear the snapping of these as it's actually not enough to pull it fully out. He's ripped from your tentacles, from your grasp, from your talons, but he is taken off of his like fur throne and is just sort of like hanging in the tentacles hanging in the tendrils like Neo in the Matrix, like the end of the Matrix. And they're trying to like guide him, and like you see this sort of like green and black ichorish blood just like pulsing out of not only his back and all of the places that they were pulled from, but the tendrils as well, and they're just sort of like spilling on the fur and down around the mane of this insectoid abomination.
Cool. That's my action and movement and bonus action.
Okay. Varkir, you're up.
I am.
You see this whole scene just like flash and reveal everything towards you.
How is No Halls' Eye doing? Is it still going towards the battle?
It is. It's still going towards now. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna stay with him.
You do notice that now, almost like as this flash came about, you hear the screeching of like it went from this like knowing sort of like level playing field with you to this transition of energy from the Unagoths into a more sort of offensive, ferocious, almost enraged.
Oh, well,
and you start to hear like
I will play the flute and just have them stop attacking.
Okay, you do know that there's only one like effective charge left in the flute for potentially a round.
I will tell them to fly away, I guess. Tell all the Unagoth in the air to fly away.
Okay.
Get them out of there.
You see three Unagoths sort of like press in and circle around the lone standing Unagoth tree as they were flying from above, and like Thunky, you see one pass right over you, and about like its tail is following it, and it's about to ram into you, and it just the tail sort of arcs around you, and it continues to fly in its course as all of them sort of were screeching down the Belvenus tree. They just start going. The screeching stops, and they just fly as it's their primary, almost as if it's their primary directive, as far away as they can.
Oh, good.
Boom, boom. He's going to see... the tentacles start to move again. He rolled an 18 on con check. What does he have to... A natural 18 to get out of stun.
Stunned only works for 1 round anyway.
Oh, okay. The tentacles go straight for the machinery at the bottom and start pulling it away. As the bottom of the tree starts to shift and you start to feel the rope like the mechanism keeping it in place and rotating it at the bottom is now destroyed, and you are hanging in the air. And Spectromere, you see this flash of purple light sort of like come streaming towards you from the bottom, and she just sort of like holds out her hand.
Oh, okay. I grab her hand.
Okay.
Do we
and
fly away?
You're she's sort of like looking at you and seeking direction as well. She sort of like motions towards Nahalis's eye that you now see lit up by Carnigal.
Okay. I'm gonna be like, take me to Nahalis's eye so I can drop this guy off. And then I'll wild shape and pick up Crow.
Just nods and like her wings aren't super substantial, so it's almost this just like lulling float, this glide towards Nahalis's eye, and she just slides her feet onto the deck and lets you down gently.
Okay. And then do I still have an action then?
It's not your turn yet. This was Spectromere's turn,
okay.
sort of bringing you onto the ship.
Right.
Unagoths. You do see the Zerg-like creatures start piling up at the base of the tree and also like jumping up and ripping a lot of the machinery off and like as it gives off the sensation. None of you can see the ground because the fog is still sort of obscuring a lot of it, but you can see sort of like the backs of these creatures swarming around, and it's like the bottom has been compromised. If any of you fall, it's going to be a hell of a time getting out. So, Thunky, now you're up. You did say you were holding something though.
I was holding Moonbeam, but can I like change the location of Moonbeam?
Yeah, I'll say that's.
Okay, then I'll put it on the Zerg monsters at the base of that thing.
Okay, go ahead and roll damage.
Let me go back.
That's extra spicy for them.
Hold on. 23 damage.
Okay.
And then I wanted to wild shape into an Unagoth.
Okay.
Where is it? And then do I have movement as well?
Yeah, you do. You have 60 feet.
Okay, so I would like to make my way to Crow.
Okay.
And then I guess on the next turn, my action will be to pick him up.
Can we sort of shift everything around to try and make this a bit more accurate? Also on here. Shit.
Wow, I'm dead.
There we go. Max, can you sort of bring Nahalis's eye right above the slave cage? And then just keep everybody around there. And then can you put the moonbeam at the base of the tree? Thank you.
It's gonna be an advantage roll somewhere
For
doing all that work.
Inspiration, nice. Crow, you're up.
I'm gonna yell, Urchak, you got this! And I'm gonna...
okay.
I'm gonna just attack the I'm gonna attack the dude twice, and then jump back over to the tree.
Okay, I'd say because you used Step of the Wind before, you'd have to roll an athletics check to see if you can, or a strength check, whichever one you want to do. Well, they're both the same. Athletics, you probably get a bigger bonus. So roll to attack, and then as you jump off, roll an athletics check.
How many feet are each square?
He could if
Each
he wanted
square?
to. I said, or he said, couldn't you use Step of the Wind again? I said, yeah, you could if you wanted to make it easily.
No, I don't want to.
Okay. What were you saying?
How many feet is each square? 10?
It's been all over the place, but we'll just say that it's accurate right now.
To what? 10?
To 5. Actually, yeah, let's do... Man, it's been so all over the place, but... Let's do 5.
I don't think I hit either times. I rolled a 2 and a 10 and a 15.
No, unfortunately, the...
It was just really unstable up there.
Yeah, his body's just like fidgeting around, almost like the cables are pushing him, and he's trying to move and like still gain sort of like maintain the connection. And so both consciousnesses are like trying to wrestle over one another, and the jumping body is just hard to sort of make contact with.
Wait, I thought you jumped back to the tree.
Yeah, but I tried to hit him first.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Cut my losses, and I'm gonna try to jump back. You said athletics?
Yep.
Oh my god. It's a 7.
The good news is you're jumping towards the moonbeam, and so like as the light caresses you, you land on top of actually from. Oh geez. Okay.
The natural one.
A natural 1. You are going to take full fall damage then, unfortunately, from 100 feet high.
This is it.
No.
This is it.
Can I catch him?
Or actually,
As a reaction, since I'm already there?
Spectromere?
Spectrometer's on the ship.
I'm
and
already 60
nobody has
feet
a
over
reaction.
there.
I told her to find Thunky.
She found Thunky and brought Thunky onto the ship.
whatever the fall damage is reduced by 30.
Can you
Okay.
somehow fall onto my back because I'm flying and I'm in that area?
Can Tim show up?
This might be it. And from the ashes, from the moonbeam
the-
arises
God.
Lore
From
Maestro,
the explosion
strumming
of
whatever
organs
instrument he
and
uses.
bones and blood going
Wow.
everywhere. Lore Maestro shreds his way.
He's a workhorse.
Jesus.
He's a workhorse.
All the twigs and cogs and the atlas.
Moonbeam does quadruple damage on him.
Oh, we just lose the atlas and lose the capabilities
so-
of powering the ship.
It is only 1d6. I thought it was 1d8. So 1d6, you should still be alive. This is
9.
9.
For 10 feet?
For every 10 feet, it's
Oh.
1d6, yeah.
Oh, you know, it's not too bad. You're like only like 60 feet
Although
up.
you rolled the
12.
back dice, so. Yeah.
17,
Like 60,
21,
66.
23, 28, 30,
You're fine.
33, 35, and then 40 points of bludgeoning damage as your hardened wooden exterior slaps against all of the corpses as well. Oh wait, actually it's 40 damage, so you only take 10 points of damage.
Well, look at you.
Because you said you reduced the fall damage by 30?
Yeah, maybe I landed nice and cushy on one of the tentacle arms. Who knows?
No, you sort of like realize that you're not quite going to make it, and you sort of assume the bracing position, even though it's still a hell of a long way down, and like 3-point landing into the like some of the corpses of the burning flesh of the Zerg creatures. Your arm bows out as your fist hits the ground, and some of your wooden architecture snaps. Same with the knee that touches the ground, as one of your quads sort of like bows outward and snaps. But you, considering the fall that you just took, that was you got off pretty good. 10 points total. That's disappointing.
10 points to Gryffindor.
Her check.
All right, I'm going to continue to rip this motherfucker off this high.
Roll a dexterity saving throw. The only reason you didn't last time is because he was stunned.
11.
You are smacked 30 feet away. What's the best way to do this?
Not the way you're thinking. Canceling it.
Shouldn't we just be leaving?
You're smacked 30 feet away. If somebody can real-time move these for me, that would be incredible. Just so I don't have to bring the mic up. But Herchek, you're smacked 30 feet away, but you still have 60 feet of movement, and you take... Where is another one? Aha.
5, 10, 15.
You take 8, 16, 18... 26 reduced to 13 points of bludgeoning damage as one of these tentacles whips up, smacks you away. You barely manage to catch yourself, and you still have everything. So
Good. Flying. I'm just gonna be like, and then catch myself, and then right back, and then I'm gonna swoop past and try to rip him off.
okay, roll another strength check.
Yeah, I know.
5.
At advantage.
Of course, it's at advantage. I rolled a 2 and a 3.
Again, that's sort of like
Get out of my
the
face.
the jolting body is like like the tendrils are making it leap up and down and like shift. Oh my god! And it manages to just like the tentacles like depress a little bit the body and bring it down as your talons. It's up. It's good.
It's not. It doesn't get the action.
I didn't realize we were doing this
It's gonna
one.
fall down again.
Yeah.
There we go. That's perfect. Thank you. And the body sort of drops as your tentacles just barely manage to miss and like rip one of the numerous tubes connecting it out. Barkir, you're up.
Where do you want to be?
So
Like here?
right now, most everybody's back on
Back
the ship
next to him.
except for Crow and her check.
Yes.
Alright, so I guess I will. Is there a way to get out of this bird form?
You would have to no, you'd have to wait it out.
I'm just gonna continue to go
I'm
around the ship
basically
and
right above.
mend it and fix it to a point where it's actually not going to fall apart and die.
It is at a stable state right now.
Oh, okay. Then I'm just going to I will hold my action
Until?
until a tentacle or something comes close to us that I can attack and get away from.
Okay. And yeah, Quenzel's like, I'm gonna. There are 2 left, yeah, and currently there is the air is still, whereas the ground is hyperactive, but at only moving 120 feet away, the Unagath, if they regain their consciousness back, they will more than likely be coming right back. You're up, and let's see.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna shout. We should leave now. There's no point in fighting something that's not our enemy.
It attacked us.
It attacked the trees that we were on.
It's true. He doesn't attack us. It's attacking the base. I'm trying to rip this dude off.
It hit Spectrum. Like, that was the first thing that happened.
Because she flew at it and attacked it.
You're still conscious, right?
Yeah.
And the it seems as though this thing is like the connection was pretty damaged, and this like the drow is like covered in its own blood and looks really beaten up. But that might be the only thing that you're holding on for hope for. But let's see. What's he going to do? Yeah, I guess it'll just sorry. 16?
Yeah.
Aye! As numerous tentacles rush at you, not just one this time.
A lot of packs.
Yeah, it sounded like a lot over there.
13. Uh, 36 reduced to 18. Yeah. It actually, for the pack dice, they all rolled fairly low.
Surprising.
Reduced 18, and now
3 is fairly low.
It starts to like the tentacles that aren't focused on attacking you sort of like shoot outward, and you hear this like it's almost like imagine hundreds of elephant trunks, just like the tentacles aren't making it, it's almost emanating from, and like the force itself is making these tendrils shake. And I want everybody in the area to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Of course, a wisdom saving throw.
Except for you, Herjek, because
good.
It is fear.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me.
Right? It's a rage thing. Yeah.
I would double check this.
17.
Oh shit! I need to roll for Quenzel and Spectromere and Carnigal.
We ain't scared of your shit. Unless it's really high.
Quenzel starts turning the ship around.
Wisdom?
It starts to like bank
I get a
an
plus
arc.
8.
And whereas it was keeping a stable distance away from the hive abomination, Quenzel is turning the ship around and it is sailing away. I can't do it! I can't do this anymore!
It's a good thing we all got.
Quenzel just lets go and runs off.
He really can't do it anymore.
Spectromere is holding her ground, and then Carnigal. What did you roll? I thought I was actually waiting for other people. Sorry.
17.
17?
11.
11. You fly as far away as you use your action, and yeah, you use all of your speed and your action to fly away. I'll say if you... Yeah, no.
Well,
because you failed this time, I think you would just automatically do it next time. And then
wouldn't I roll on my turn to get out of it?
You failed this roll.
So on my turn, I don't roll to try and get out of it on my turn?
No, because otherwise that would give you 2 opportunities. You would roll to beat it at the end of your turn, or at the beginning of your next one. It'd be at the beginning of your next one. So you're actually continuing. It doesn't really, I suppose, affect you too much, but you are flying away with Quenzel. Can somebody rotate the ship and move it 100 feet away?
100?
100
That's
feet
like
away.
off the map.
Yeah.
So that means everybody who's on the ship is with us, though.
Yeah, you would go 120 feet.
That means everybody's gone except for her checking.
No,
No, I'm not.
no, she didn't fail it.
But she's on
She's
the
on
ship.
the ship.
No, she's not.
No, I'm
she's
not.
at Unigoth.
Yeah, she went into Nudagoth and was flying
She was-
Why
towards.
did you say she was on the ship then?
I'm sorry, I fucked that up. No surprise there. So Crow. Okay.
The only escape.
Carnival sort of pops out of his form, and assumes his standard sort of cloaked Japanese rice farmer hat again, or rice harvester hat, and he says, "Herchek, it's now or never. I'm going to do what I can." And
He's still with me?
he was still on the Hive Abomination, and that was this ferret was his last avatar. So he pops out, and he's just taking his wavy dagger, and he's just attacking twice as best he can. Both hit.
Got the tentacles.
And he's slicing, he's directly slicing, he's going under the writhing drow and slicing as many of the tendrils as he can. $32 total points of damage.
I should be hired to play with Barbies in those commercials.
And
Fine.
you hear the screeching of the Unigoth coming back. You just hear their screams right now. Anybody on the ship hears them in their periphery going back towards the camp. And Thunky, you're up.
I pick up Crow
Okay.
and tell him to get on my back.
Okay.
And then, so can Carnival fly right now? Is he good?
No, Carnival's not good. He has no method of flight.
But
right
you're
now.
flying.
Yeah.
Is his thing strong enough to hold people? Or is he
Yeah,
just like a
he's
dude?
he's pretty much imagine an Unigoth's legs and wings, but with the body of Herchek.
Yeah, that's really weird. Okay, yeah, so I pick up Crow and I'm flying as fast as I can to the ship.
Okay.
What do I say? I don't remember how fast I am. Oh, 60.
Thank you, Donkey. Let's get out of here.
Wait, these are 5, right?
Is it total of 60, or are you doubling it? As your action? No, your action was to pick up Crow.
Yeah.
Crow, you're up.
Are we
And then Herchek.
back at the ship?
60 feet away?
No.
No, you're not back at the ship yet. You
I
are.
have like one more.
Man,
Yeah.
there's nothing I can really do.
Try and throw a dagger.
Throw a dagger.
You have the belt of daggers, or you can attack. You can say something. You can reach out to somebody.
I
You
guess I got
can.
2 attacks, so I'll toss some daggers.
The Zerg.
The Zerg things. Yeah, I'll just throw them over there.
Let's just say that. No, let's just not say that.
What?
Rain.
How's that? That looks incredible. Is that Taro?
What the hell is going on? Wow. All of that.
They get lost in the fog.
But
Yeah.
they come right back to you.
You hear like
I
a.
thought they only have a distance of like 30 feet.
You hear one of the.
That's as far as I saw them go.
A few seconds later, you hear like the squeal of a smaller insectoid creature.
Score.
Herchek.
Gonna go, Carl, get on me! And I'm gonna try to, one last time, rip this dude off. I'm going to
60 feet.
grab onto him, pull. If it doesn't work, I don't give a shit, I'm leaving.
Okay. Because there are less tendrils now, the DC is lower,
Coolio.
but you still have to beat a 20. You got a 25 last time.
I beat it. No, 20? Yeah, I beat it. 21.
Wow. Just at the, you hear, and the body just comes like with the relief of the tendrils being fully snapped. You soar away, and the corpse is still in your talons, just floating there. The tendrils try and reach up towards you. Roll a dexterity saving throw. As they're like reactively
13.
He tried to throw him off.
You are batted away and the corpse is taken from you. And you fly in, let's see. Same exact direction that you flew the first time.
Okay, don't care. Just, I'm flying away.
And so that was your
How much damage?
that was your action. That was good point. Thank you.
What's your flight speed?
60.
Jeez, man. 20 reduced to 10.
Jeez, man. Wait. For me.
It's not cool
If I don't die.
And you notice as you look back, with like the last of your vision, Carnigal is laying back into the tendrils. And
What? He was on me.
No, you said get on me. He did not get on you.
Oh, that's son of a bitch.
And he says, like, he tries to yell out to you. Roll a perception check.
I would have not have left if he didn't get on me.
You said get on him. He did not get on you. And you were batted away, her check.
It's alright. None of us even liked him. It's fine.
20, not natural.
He just...
Oh, wait. 20, 23.
He just asked you to trust him.
Trust me.
No tear comes from my eye and I leave.
he like pleads with you specifically, but and the cacophony of creature sounds and like the ripping and tearing and the Unagoth swarm in as all of you guys are sailing away through the fog, and we will pick up there as you collect onto the deck of the ship. And you also saw the tentacles like rolling up the drow in this amber-esque liquid. And that's
Can I do prayer of healing before everybody before we depart, I guess?
Of
Takes
course,
10
yeah.
minutes to do it,
I'll say that you were sort of like on the deck of the ship casting that as you saw your comrades flying towards in this sort of like preparatory nature. And as the screeching and clawing sounds die off into the distance, you just hear one more elephant cry. This time it doesn't invoke any sense of fear. It's almost like, you know, the spectral image of Carnigal just like appears in front of you and then disappears. And so we'll pick up there next time on Dragon Ball Z. Your ship it cannot take flight. You cannot actually reach out of the. I'm sorry, I said next time, but there's still a little bit more. It needs repairs to be able to like fly a significant amount of distance to be able to go up to get visibility. Thunky still has her Unagoth form to do this, but if you wanted to use this ship to do anything highly effective, you'd have to find a place to repair it, which might be, who knows, in the Unagoth Forest.
Everybody gets 32 points of healing back.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, thank goodness.
Go ahead and tabulate that, and
We still have Unagoths inbound, right?
No, they're not inbound. I told you, the Unagoths were flying back towards the camp as you guys were sailing away. Yeah, everybody update your health. Funky, you didn't take any damage, did you, again?
No, but thank goodness I got that 32 back.
All right. Thank you for joining us, SASANs. As always, until fate next brings us together. And never stop playing role-playing games.